Let me ask you something. Have you ever bought something? Not because you needed it, but because of how it would make you look? Car you couldn't really afford. An outfit that wiped out half your paycheck. A dinner you put on credit. Just because you didn't want to seem like the person who couldn't afford it. If you've ever done that, you're not alone. And you're not weak. You're human. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Your ego is costing you more money than any bad investment ever could. And today we're going to talk about exactly how that happens. First, let's talk about what ego actually is. Not the psychological definition, just the real, everyday version of it. Ego is that voice inside you that is obsessed with how other people see you. It wants to look successful. It wants to look like you have it together. It wants to make sure nobody ever thinks less of you. And here's the problem. That voice has absolutely no budget. It doesn't care if you're in debt. It doesn't care if you can't pay rent next month. All it cares about is the image, the appearance, the story other people tell about you. And quietly, without you even realizing it, that voice makes most of your financial decisions. Think about this. Why do people buy houses that are too big for them? Not because they need the space, because a bigger house says something. Tells the world, I made it. Why do people lease cars they can't afford? Not because they need the newest model, because pulling up in something nice feels like winning some invisible competition. Why do people go on vacations they put on credit? Not always for the experience. Sometimes just for the photos. Just for the moment someone says, wow, that looks amazing. That 2-second validation can cost you 6 months of financial stress. And the ego thinks that's a fair trade. Here's where it gets really interesting. Research in human psychology shows that we are more afraid of looking poor than we are of actually being poor. Read that again. We are more afraid of looking poor than actually being poor. That's why people who are genuinely struggling financially will still find a way to show up looking like they're not. New clothes, nice phone, going out with friends, picking up the tab even when they shouldn't, because the ego cannot handle the shame of being seen as less. And that fear, that deep, quiet fear of judgment, is one of the most powerful financial forces in a person's life. More powerful than logic. More powerful than math. More powerful than knowing better. Now here's the part that really stings. Most of the people you're spending money to impress, they're doing the exact same thing. They're broke and performing too. They're stressed and hiding it too. They're spending money they don't have to look like they do. It's a room full of people, acting rich for each other, and everyone is quietly drowning. The whole thing is a performance, and the ticket price is your financial future. So how do you actually break this? It starts with one question. Every time you're about to spend money, ask yourself honestly, am I buying this for me? Or am I buying this for how it looks? Not to judge yourself, just to see clearly. Because the moment you can separate what you actually want from what your ego wants, everything changes. You stop spending money you don't have. You stop performing for people who aren't even paying attention. And you start making decisions that actually move your life forward. The most financially free people aren't the ones who make the most money. They're the ones who stopped needing to prove something. They drive what they can afford. They live where it makes sense. They don't pick up tabs to look generous. They are genuinely unbothered by what anyone thinks. And that unbothered feeling, that's not just peace of mind. That's money in the bank. If something in this video made you stop and think, that's not a coincidence. That's awareness. And awareness is where everything starts. Hit that like button if this hit you somewhere real. Every single week we go deeper into the psychology and the truth behind money, the stuff nobody talks about but everybody lives through. Subscribe and come back next week. I'll see you there.